Hiya lads and lasses, and welcome to Darts Coaching with Dynamite Dave. It's another edition of How the Pros Throw. Right, what we're going to talk about today is another section of How the Pros Throw. We've seen Dave Chisnell, and what we're going to do now is we're going to go on from Dave Chisnell, and as I promised in the last video, we're going to go on to the ladies' game. Obviously there's going to be others after this. We're going to do Michael Van Gerwen and probably Gary Anderson and people like that. We'll do quite a few of them. Should be good fun. All I'll do is I'll just keep dropping one in every now and again, and we'll just carry on and just do as many as it gets to, shall we? Right, so what I wanted to say to everybody was about the ladies' game. Obviously the ladies' game has been treated as a bit of a second-class citizen within the darts community for quite a long time. It's always been very grassroots, there's always been pub teams, there's always been county players, and in the last 10 years probably we've had two or three, 5 or 6, 7 or 8 ladies who've actually come to the forefront and been key contributors in the Lakeside and the BDO. Anastasia Bromislova had a bit of a foray into the PDC a few years ago, but unfortunately didn't get very far. One of the things that we'll go through in the actual video is the reasons behind why the women never got to the point where the blokes did. And what we'll do, actually, I'll tell you what we'll do is, shall we go over into section 1 and we'll talk about just that. So here we go, over into section 1. Right, here we are over in section 1, and what I want to talk to you about in section 1 is the way that the women's game has progressed. Well, the women's game has progressed, but it's progressed at a lot slower rate than the men. The reason for this is number one is underfunding. It's always been underfunded because, as with virtually everything in society, women have lagged behind. I think, to be honest with you, because I'm one of these, I believe in telling it the way that it is. I believe it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. The women, as they do in business life and everything, don't seem to have the aptitude to push themselves, to go to the forefront and say, look at the product that we've got, look at what we can do, we deserve to be paid more. If they'd have got together like the PDC did, if the top women had got together and started to put some pressure on, then hopefully the game would have gone a little bit quicker than it has. But wake up, ladies, if you start doing this, putting some pressure on the BDO to fetch the thing of the prize money up, because what they're doing at the moment is they're fetching it up gradually. It needs to come up dramatically over probably a 2 or a 3 year period. I think it should be parity. I think the women should be playing the same amount of legs, the same amount of sets, under the same sort of pressure for the same money. And there's absolutely no reason whatsoever why they can't do it. Now what we've got coming up is we're going to have a look at the old guard first, and we'll have a look at the way that they throw, and we'll have a look at their accuracy, the consistency, and what is determined within their throw that dictates that consistency and accuracy. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go on to the young guard towards the end of the video, and the young guard are the ones that are coming through that we've seen, well, you might not have seen, but fantastic young lasses coming through that, believe me, can compete with the men. They can compete with the men if they're brought on and they're pushed properly, they're funded correctly so they can actually make a living out of it, instead of having to go and do 6 or 7 or 8 hours at Tesco's behind the counter on the till and then having to go play darts at night time. These lasses need to be able to have a job as a professional dart player, and we need to be able to encourage and make it possible for more and more of these ladies to do that. The way that we can do that is by, if these ladies take it up, all of the lasses start thinking about things like this. Promote yourself, get yourself doing gigs and appearances, all that sort of stuff, and drive yourself a living out of it. If you can drive yourself a living out of it, then you will be able to put the time and effort in to becoming as good as the men. And believe me, you can do it. We know, all the lads here know you can do it. So let's see you pushing yourselves. Right, so let's go on into section 2, and now what we'll do is we'll start looking at some of the old guard. We've got some crackers here, as you've seen on the intro. We've got Anastasia Despromislova, we've got Lisa Ashton, we've got Fallon Sherrock, we've got quite a few of them here, and we'll go through Steffi de Graaf. What we'll do is we'll go through their throws, just hopping through them, and then what I'll do is, like I've done with the blokes, I'll do some more in-depth stuff on them when we've done this sort of like a bit of an introduction video. So here we go, over into section 2. Right, hiya, now we're in section 2, and what we're going to do is we're going to look at the pros throws, and what we're going to do is we're going to start off with who you've got to start off with really, which is the reigning world champion, and that's Lisa Ashton. So what we're going to do now is have a look at Lisa's throw. What I'm going to do is project her over onto the side here, as we usually do, and we'll have a look at a throw. As you can see here, we've got her setting up. We've got a good picture of her from the side, so it gives you a good idea of how she actually approaches the hockey and how she sets herself up. So here she comes, right, she's straight in, and she's very much like Gary Anderson. As soon as her toe's up onto the hockey, the first arrow's on its way. It's quite a rushed throw. She's got a good follow through, but very little on the backswing. And also what she's doing is, as her arm's coming back, you can see she's levelling the dart out to try and throw the dart straight. Now we can't see it on these clips, but if you get a clip of Lisa when the camera pans right back and you can see a dart fly, you'll see that a dart goes up in the air and comes back down again, rather than going in a nice smooth arc. She is the world champion, and so obviously what she does actually works for her, and she is actually quite consistent with it. But maybe she has the same sort of brain pattern as Gary Anderson. Gary Anderson's throw's got a few quirks in it. It's quite consistent, but it's got a few quirks in it. But Gary and Lisa are able to manage those quirks to produce good darts. So that's the Lisa Ashton throw. What we're going to do now is run through it again in slow motion, and you can have a quick look again at how she pulls that finger back to deliver the darts. It's quite a rushed throw, but I think that sometimes can give you the accuracy because you're doing bum 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 one thing after another rather than slowing it right down and being able to think about it. So I think that just demonstrates that Lisa is an impulse player rather than a thought projected player. So what we'll do now is, we'll have a quick look at it again through it. Right, now what we're going to do is we're going to go and have a look at Maria O'Brien. Now Maria O'Brien, or Marie O'Brien, whichever way you want to say it, I find her throw really good. She's not one of the top players as of yet, but her consistency is good from what I've seen. I think her approach and everything to the game is good, and she's actually now starting to see some results for that. Obviously she's always been there in the background, but her game is now starting to build because her accuracy is there and her consistency is there, and obviously accuracy and consistency breeds success. So here we see Maria, she's setting herself up on the hockey, and as you can see she's got a good stance there. Her back leg is slightly out with the heel slightly off the floor. Slight bend forward, but not too much, so it overbalances her. She's got her head nice and straight up. She's got her thorax nice and straight, what they call thorax neutral. So she's stood up nice and straight. She's got a lovely level arm. That arm there is absolutely fantastic. The actual motion, the mechanical throw for Maria, I think is absolutely spot on. All this would need is a tiny little bit of fettling, and that'd be about it. So here we go. Well, let's have a watch her actually throw. This I'm very impressed with. Lovely, deliberate, continuous, repetitive, solid throw. There we go, we're watching the setup here for a thingy for the next leg. So here she goes, setting herself up, nice, taps her toe on the hockey, turns in. And then that last leg she hit 3 back-to-back 140s. Definitely not to have your nose turned up at. Fantastic. Really, really good throw. There's another one, nearly a 180 or 135, just off the wire. Right, so that was Maria O'Brien, who's got a very solid and good and a very well constructed throw. And what we're going to do now is go to the other end of the scale, which is Steffi de Graaf. So let's go and have a look at Steffi's throw, shall we? Right, now what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at Steffi de Graaf, and here we go, we're going to watch her now setting herself up. She's at the back of the hockey and she's ready to walk forward. Obviously she's playing Dieter Edmund, as you can see, and she's going to be part of this video as well. So you'll see how Steffi de Graaf walks up to the hockey, actually addresses the board and the way that she throws. And this is something that I've been into in other videos in the past and said why she's such a fantastic dart player, but she's very much a Dave Chisnall. Sometimes she's on, sometimes she's off. And the reason for that is the inconsistency and in the way that she throws. Obviously, more than likely, very, very set in her ways. Certainly could change and certainly could make some massive improvements. But here, let's go and have a look at Steffi. Right, here she comes up to the hockey. It's toe 2 in the Australasia. You can see there's quite a few, if we stop that there, there's quite a few anomalies in her throw. As you could see from that first scene there, she goes toe to the hockey, and as she throws a dart, because of all the wiggling about that's going in her upper body, it's lifting her back foot off the floor. And we've said in loads of the training videos, if you lift one foot off the floor when you're throwing, you're literally balancing on one foot. So if you go up to the hockey and stand on one foot, put your other foot up off the floor and try and throw your darts, it's very, very difficult. And that's what happens, is as that arm goes forward, it's dragging the foot off the floor and fetching a bit of inconsistency into it, and along with all the other flamboyance that she has in her throw, is making it so as sometimes it's on when she can get all those aspects absolutely spot on. And as you can see with Steffi, she's got a very flamboyant, a very way of throwing, and it's very either on or it's off. Right, so that is Steffi de Graaf. So like I say, we're getting towards the end of the old guard now, and we're going to go back to one of the old guard that is probably one of the most prolific tournament winners in the game, in the ladies' game that's ever been, and that is somebody who again has quite an involved throw. It's a little more mechanical, it's a little more accurately repetitive than Steffi, well, a lot more than Steffi's, but more than quite a lot of them, and that is Dieter Edmund. So what we're going to do now is go on and have a quick look at Dieter's throw. Right, so here's Dieter coming up to the hockey to set up. Lovely traditional stance, foot right proper side onto the hockey, sets herself up with a really nice solid stance, and then the only thing that seems to me to let her down is she's coming up and then dipping the elbow down and then driving the dart forward. If she could calm that down into one movement, I think she'd probably be better than she is, and she's damn good now, isn't she? So here comes Dieter up to the hockey again, proper side on stance, proper solid stance, doesn't lift the foot off the floor when she throws, rock solid. Like I say, she's driving those arrows in, and there we have a 180. Absolutely fantastic. But like I say, still room for logical improvement. Right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the last of our selection of what I class as the top dart players in the ladies' game at the moment, and I don't mean the best players, I mean the ones that seem to get to the forefront of everything on a regular basis, and that's another one that's been a multi-time world champion, and one of the, shall we say, one of the darlings of the game, good-looking lass, and that's Anastasia Despromislova. So right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to have a quick look at Anastasia Despromislova's throw. Another one that's been supremely accurate. She throws very good. The only thing I find with Anastasia is the body's a little bit open, but she does and she can throw at the men's level without any doubt. I've seen her do it on many occasions. Same with Lisa Ashton. I've seen her throw on the men's level many occasions. And then we've got some of the others that are in and out, like the men's darts, exactly the same. We've got players that come in, go out, come back in again and go out again. They have, let's say, periods when they're in the zone, like we all do, and then they have periods where they slip out of that and then you don't see them in a couple of tournaments, and then what they'll do is they'll go back 2 or 3 steps, they'll build themselves back up again and they'll be back in again. Anastasia is always there or thereabouts. Fantastic player. She's so what I'd like to class her as, if we can, is she's the Raymond van Barneveld of the ladies' game. She's always there and she's always good. Right, so love fest over and here we go. Right, here she is setting up. You can see the determination in her face. This is exactly what you want. Really, really good concentration levels, and producing and coming from that comes with some really, really good darts. Here she's setting up again. Fantastic. Excellent, excellent throwing. Here she's a quick view of her there from the side. Really well set up. Good solid throw. Like I say, a bit like Raymond van Barneveld even, when I get my grand's teeth in, of the ladies' game. So what a fantastic player. So then what we've done is we've had a look at the old guard, and we've seen some good solid throws, some mediocre throws, and some let's say inconsistent throws, to be kind. Another one of the ladies that's got a very inconsistent throw, who I forgot to mention, and she is one of the top players, is Lorraine Winstanley. And we've seen her throw, and she'll feature in one of the other videos. So if you're a fan of Lorraine's, don't worry about it, she'll be coming along at some point. Right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go from the old guard, which I've shown you there's quite a lot of, and I'm going to show you two young ladies now that come from, I think it's the Netherlands, and the difference in the way that they throw, the new guard that are coming up, to the way that the ladies that we've just seen her throw. You see small parts of it in Maria O'Brien's, and you see some parts of it in Anastasia, the very competent and very reliable ones. And these are the future. These lasses are the future. And don't forget, we've got some of our own as well. But these are just two that I happened to pick up off the internet while I was having a run through last night. And I was very, very impressed by these two. Right, so let's have a look at the two players. I'm not even going to attempt the names. It's up on the screen when they're playing. Some of these Swedish names or whatever, the Netherlands names, very, very difficult to pronounce. Right, so here we go. Let's go and have a look at the first one. Right, this first lass that's up is Lorena Rettenbergen. I hope that's the right way to pronounce it. It's probably not, but it's my go at it anyway. Now this is the young lass in the pink here, and what a fantastic, this is quite a very good flowy way of throwing darts. She doesn't have a drawback before she throws, but as you can see, very mechanical throw, very fresh, very, you can see that she's got a real good future, fantastic throw, fantastic determination. So let's have a look at this young lass throw here. Here she comes up to the hockey, sets herself up properly with the side on. Nice and closed, you can see her body's very closed. And she's got a lovely nice arm movement, that lovely tick-tock. Fantastic. That I like to see as well, where she resets herself when she throws a dart and it's not gone where she wants it to. She's reset herself because she's on a finish, and she's got them gone straight back into it, and that really nice throw that really nice tick-tock for the last two arrows. Lorena Raybergen. Lorena Raybergen her name is. I only know because I'm listening to it on here. Right, now the next one we're going to have a look at is a young lady called Layla Brussel. Layla Brussel. If you looked at, now this young lass has got, out of all of them, a lot of them, she's got my favourite throw, because she's got the Dynamite Dave throw, hasn't she? Well, I think she has anyway. I think it's fantastic, absolutely spot on, really good. So she's got the hitch. What I do is to make sure that dart is going in a straight line. So let's have a look how she sets herself up and how she throws. Run it down into slow motion, this one. Now here she goes, setting herself up on the hockey. She's a right-hander. She's extended her arm to get her arm straight for the first dart, which is okay. It's not something that I do, but that's fine. And then what she does is, just like me, she comes back and she's got that hitch and throw, hitch and throw, hitch and throw. And she's got a lovely closed body position. She's got a nice solid stance, and she delivers the darts to the board very, very well. Let's just have another couple of watches of her, or a couple of looks at her as she's throwing. Fantastic. That's Layla Brussel, and that's who I believe is and I think these lasses, and there's a few more of them, obviously I can't feature them all, I just wanted to put these into the video to show you the old guard and where the old guard throw, and the way the new lasses that are coming on are throwing. And the young lasses like this that they look to me at about 16 or 17, something like that. All those that are coming through are using a mechanical throw. I haven't seen a one of them, to be honest with you, that I can think of that's got like a wild or a non-logical throw. I mean, no doubt you're going to let me know if there is some of them, because a lot of you follow the BDO a lot more closely than I do. Unfortunately, with all the work and everything that I have to do, because I work as well as doing all this stuff, I don't have time to go and do a lot of that, trolling the internet for different things or watching every tournament. I really wish I could, but I just haven't got the time to do it. Right, so hope you've enjoyed the video. We've been through some cracking stuff. It's been quite a long video, obviously, because of the amount of content that's in it. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, hopefully you've made it to this end. If you enjoy the videos, if you support the channel, if you're fans of the channel or myself, if you can, please donate a little bit of a tip through Patreon or through PayPal Pay Me. Helps produce all this content and helps me with the equipment and software and all that sort of stuff. So if you can afford to donate, a couple of dollars, a couple of quid, whatever you can afford is really, really appreciated, and it all gets ploughed back into the channel. Right, so thanks for watching, and don't forget, lads and lasses, you only ever get out of this game what you're prepared to put in. And our game, our sport, as they're starting to call it, has got a very, very, very bright future when I can get my teeth in. It is always, always, always toe to the hockey.